Hello friends, Literally Addicted to Video Games here, bringing you another Dota 2 video on behalf of Dota Alchemy, and in this video we're going to be talking about why this ward, along with basically every other eye spot ward in the game, is a shitty ward. So without further ado, let's begin. Hello there, I'm back, the intro is over, and I'm in the exact same spot, but let's talk about wards. So in my opinion, in Dota there are two main types of wards. There are vision wards, wards that you are placing to gain vision of somebody so that you can literally click your buttons on them. So basically wards to fight around, so that if I have a ward here and I'm fighting, I can see some guy over here who's important, like a Dazzle or an Oracle or a Magnus, and then I can go on him and press my buttons on him. You need vision to do that, and of course sentries are also important for that sort of thing. But there is another type of ward, and that is a glimpse ward. A ward that you are placing to simply catch a glimpse of somebody so that you can make informed decisions about how to move around the map. And generally, when people place these wards, they don't defend them. A lot of the time, they just die. They're wards that are placed to just get a glimpse of somebody, and yet the enemy team walks up and dewards it because it's such an obvious spot. But if you place a ward over here, it catches the same glimpse of people. You'll know if they're walking into the jungle, which lets you know that they're there, which lets you know that you can fight over here. Exactly the same as this does, except it's less likely to get dewarded. So those are the two types of wards, glimpse wards and vision wards, and I'm going to show you a few examples from competitive where teams place these different types of wards and how glimpse wards don't get dewarded because they're placed in shittier vision locations but better glimpse locations. So here we are, 39 minutes into NIP versus Fnatic, and Fnatic places an excellent vision ward on top of this cliff right here. When I originally thought of this video, I was thinking, all right, I'm going to do two replays for vision wards. I'm going to do a replay where a team places a ward on a cliff and then they defend it. That's something that Fly from EG did. They called this the fly spot, where they would just put the ward there, sit on the high ground, obliterate anybody who comes up with the high ground advantage, with the vision advantage, with the sentry on the cliff as well, and it's equivalent to like defending high ground. Now in Dota, there are tons of high grounds all around, tons of ward spots that are also on the high ground, so there's tons of fly spots that you can win games by essentially just placing a ward and putting it on a high ground and defending it. And Fnatic, they do it. So the other example, the other replay that I was going to select for this is I was going to put in a replay where people hold a ward. This is something the original Vici Gaming did when they were extremely good. They were the best in the world, and it was because they did this. They would hold a ward on a support, and then as a fight broke out, they'd place the ward so that way they can get vision of the important targets in the fight and then go on them, go on the back line instead of going on who the enemy team wants you to go on. In this situation, Fnatic does both. There's a fight about to break out, and they defend this high ground ward. Unfortunately, there's some shit that happens here between DJ and Soxa. But because this line is out of position and they see all of NIP here using this vision ward, they can just go and kill line very easily. So it results in a pickoff. Unfortunately, because of Soxa making a pretty nice play on DJ, it doesn't result in a team fight around that ward, but you can see that at the very least they were thinking of hopefully getting into that process where they would fight around this ward, win the fight because they have that advantage, because they're defending the ward, and because they held a ward for when they were going to fight. Here are two great examples at 18 minutes in of two excellent glimpse wards. We have one ward on the Radiant side placed on this cliff, getting vision of the river, so you can see people walk across, so you know that they're over here, and then you can see them walk back in the other direction, so that you know that they're going to be over here. And then we have this ward here, which gives vision if somebody walks to the mid lane. It gives vision if somebody is farming on the shrine area, if somebody TPs into the shrine to defend this tower. Anything like that, you're going to get vision of that, and that's basically all the information that you want from these wards. And here we can see two of the common repercussions of having these glimpse wards. So this area right here and this area are two areas you absolutely do not want to fight. You have an Ursa on your team if you're Radiant, so you want to fight around the Roche Pit. You're Radiant, so you want to play into the enemy Dire jungle. To this bot lane, it's the dead lane. So what this ward does is this ward secures the dead lane so that PPD can farm it on Nature's Prophet. What this ward does is it gives vision so that you can make plays elsewhere if you see that a hero is split up. Both of these repercussions of having glimpse wards do not require you to have perfect vision of the heroes. You just need a glimpse of them. And we can see here that PPD on the bot lane sees Ice coming across, just a glimpse of him, not even enough time to see what items he has, and then this gives him the information that he needs to walk into the trees and get out just as Ice comes in on Doom. So they know Ice is here because he's showing, and he could be playing alone, so PPD TV's back to base, and then in this ward, they see Lifestealer. So they see him farming. Useless information to know what he's doing. All you need to know is that he's there. It doesn't matter that he has an armlet, doesn't matter that he has a radiance. That's not what matters. He's there. So therefore, there isn't somebody standing behind this Jakiro on the top lane, and they go on the Jakiro. So essentially, these wards, the important part about them is that they don't get dewarded, and that they're just covering choke points that are very likely that people will run through. So you know what area the enemy team is in, so you know that you can make plays on the opposing side of the map, or on that side of the map if you want to play to your opponents. So here we are, 38 minutes into the same game, and this is honestly the entire purpose of this video, the reason why I wanted to make it. Because most of the time, if this is a pub, and we're playing on the dire side, so let's say we're Fnatic, we take this ward, which is here, and we place it on this cliff. And the reason for that is, well, it has an eye on it, it's a cliff, you know it gets better vision, but it's so likely to get dewarded. And if we're Fnatic, we're pressuring the tier 1. We aren't pressuring the tier 2 just yet, and even if we are pressuring the tier 2, this still isn't abysmal vision, and in any case, we have a 12k gold lead, so we don't really need vision in fights. We're strong. What we need is an ability to make informed decisions about how we move around the map. And I think in pubs in general, when people place the ward on this cliff, it's not because they want to fight around it. It's so they know where the enemies are. It's a glimpse ward, but it always gets dewarded because it's on this very obvious cliff spot. So basically, what I'm saying is that if you are placing wards with the intent of just catching a glimpse of somebody, then it opens up the map so much more to just sacrifice a little bit of vision because you know that it doesn't matter because it's still fulfilling its purpose, and then not getting dewarded like this. So place it here instead, maybe even place it down here on the low ground, because then even though you won't see onto the high ground, it doesn't matter because if somebody runs up the high ground, you'll still see them do that. Same thing as this. And it's for this reason that people are literally placing wards in the river now. I've seen tons of river wards, and it's because it's not the vision that matters, it's the fact that you know where the enemy heroes are because they ran through the ward at a point in time. So that's it for this video. If you want more offlane content, make sure to thumbs up the video, and if you want more support content, make sure to comment below who you think would win in a fight between Donnie and I. So, thank you so much for watching, I do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video.